Hi, welcome back. This is Mr. G. Martinez once again, and this is your favorite 8th grade science channel. Today we're going to be covering TICS 8.7b, where you're supposed to demonstrate and illustrate the sequence of events in the learner cycle. In particular, this time we are going to be covering strategies, so you can answer questions on a test about the learner cycle, of course, whenever you see a diagram with learner cycles. But today, we will be recognizing different learner cycle images in pictures used in exams. And we are going to recognize the different learner cycles and different angles that are used on those pictures that are posted on test questions. And of course, we're going to learn how to use strategies to answer many different questions on exams. And we are going to get familiar with different types of questions asked during the test. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, the type of images on test questions, in general, there are about 4 different types, but there can be many more, okay? But just in general, we're going to be discussing the ones that showed up most of the time. Like, for example, you have one with the whole lunar cycle around the Earth is presented, like this one over here. And sometimes you have seen many different types of those questions where you have either the sun on the right or on the left, on the top or on the bottom, okay? The calendar style. Now this style is very common on test questions because you have kind of like the month calendar and different phases of the moon throughout the days. You got one type where the sun, the earth, and one moon is only presented. Notice how it's only one moon. Notice that is not exactly the lunar cycle that's supposed to be there, because the moon that is there presented is just showing the general, just like the earth, where the lit side that is facing the sun is, and the dark side where away from the sun. So you're gonna have to figure out what type of moon you have and things like that. A single moon phase, like this one over here, where only one moon is presented, and then they're gonna be asking you a bunch of questions about it, either for before or after that moon that is presented. So we're gonna be looking into many different type of situations. Different angles on moon phases. Now we're going to be discussing the angles because we have seen these examples before, like plenty of them. Okay, notice this one where the sun is on the left side, and then from there you got the whole lunar cycle. So just by knowing, we got a couple more like that, like where the sun is on the right side. Notice that even though you don't see the sun, you can tell that the sun is on this side because you see those arrows. And those arrows are pointing where the light source is coming from, which is from the right side. Now that doesn't look like a sun. It kind of looks more like a UFO or something, but whatever. Let's move on. You have the sun on the top and then the sun on the bottom. So you see, these are all examples that are similar to that. Notice that the shape of the moons doesn't change. I'm going to be pointing at the waxing crescent for all of them. And notice over here on the waxing crescent how the lit side is on the right, okay? Likewise over here, this is the waxing crescent, right? It's also on the right. Notice this one, this is a waxing crescent, and it's also on the right. So it doesn't matter where the sun is, you will have the same moons are gonna look similar, okay? Strategies, we have seen these strategies. You got a whole video just made on strategies on how to recognize your moons. If you still have problems with this one, go back and look at the previous video that was created on this. This is part 2. Find the counterclockwise movement, number your moons, name your moons, write the timing, the number of days between moons, and then recognize your waxing and waning moons. We are not going to spend too much time on these ones because obviously we have explained all this with a lot of detail before. So just go back and look at these examples. So here, just for strategies, find the new moon, follow the counterclockwise motion, number your moons, name your phases, and then write the timing of the moon. Here is your new moon. We know it's completely dark, so we know it's facing the sun. That is our new moon. Follow the counterclockwise motion. Now the counterclockwise from the new moon goes this way. And we know that. So we know the next one is going to be to number your moons, And we know that this one is going to be number 1, this is number 2, number 3, 4. Number 5 is over here. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, name the phases. Well, this is the new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, and waning crescents. That is naming your moon, of course. Writing the timing. Now the timing, this is the amount of days it takes for the whole cycle and similar things like that. Now this will be day 1, and during the waxing crescent it will take 3.5 days, about 3.5 days, 7 days for the first quarter, 10.5 days for the waxing gibbous, and about 14 days for the full moon, 17.5 on the waning gibbous. This will be 21 days, oh no, not again, 21 days over here. And then on this one will be 24.5, más o menos. And then at the end, we are going to have 29 days. So the new moon is actually going to count twice. 1 for the first day, and then 29 for the last day. We have to complete the cycle. So the cycle starts with the new moon, and it also ends with the new moon. Waxing moons, which are in this example are going to be on the top, and then your waning moons that are going to be on the bottom. Okay, how to recognize them? Well, all the waxing moons have the lid on the right, and all your waning moons have the lid on the left. That's how we recognize. The sun on the left follows the same strategies. We're not going to go over them right now, but because we have covered them before. Alright, so find the new moon, follow counterclockwise, number your moons, name, write the timings, and that's it. On the right. Okay, so there is your new moon, and then you're supposed to number them. And then you're supposed to name your moons, which are there. I forgot about the counterclockwise, so I'm gonna put just one arrow right here going this way. Write the timing of the phases. Okay, we're not gonna go over that. Let's just skip them. The sun on the top, and then we're supposed to name the moons, and then write the timing of the phases. So all that was covered before. That's why we're going fast in this. Okay, this is the best part of the video, or the most important part of the video, which is the type of questions. Type of questions like this. If you get a diagram like that one, today the moon is waning gibbous. Which moons are we going to have in 3 days? So we have a waning gibbous, and in which the waning gibbous will be right here. This will be your waning gibbous, right? We know the sun is over here on this side, and we know this will be the new moon right here because we don't see it, it's invisible, right? So from there, counterclockwise, this will be your waning gibbous. Okay, 3 days. What are we going to have in 3 days? Okay, so in 3 days, it's about 3.5 days, right? You will have a third quarter moon, or a last quarter moon. It means the same thing. Where is the sun located? We know is located on the left side. Describe what happens to the moon as the phases move from the full moon to the new moon. So if you're on the full moon and as you move to the new moon, what happens to the moon phases? So as we can see, they're actually disappearing, they're shrinking, getting small, right? So we can say that this one is shrinking. And that's it. Let's move on to the next one. All right, this is one single moon, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to figure it out if you don't have much experience about it. But this is very easy. If you had a full moon here, or the whole moon, and only half of them is lit, and it happens to be the right side, and you remember the mnemonic phrase, which means waxing right. We know this is a waxing, it's a first quarter moon. So out of the back, without even looking at the question, I know this is a first quarter moon. First quarter. There you go, and let's take a look at the questions. What comes 7 days after this moon? Okay, 7 days after, we know we can have a full moon. Which moon was there 7 days before? Now, 7 days before, we should have, before this, 7 days before will be, this is going to work. Well, I'm sorry, it's not 7 days before, it's 3 days. 3 days is waxing crescent. Okay. If this is waxing, oh, is this waxing or waning? Well, this is waxing. We already know that. So you see, you do your strategy before, you should know most of the questions already. How do you know? Because we see that the light is on the right side. All right, so this is simple. Let's move on to more challenging questions. Okay, this is a calendar, and some of the questions that you're gonna have in the calendar form can be challenging if you don't pay attention. Okay, when will be the next first quarter moon? Well, if we want to know where the next first quarter moon will be, we need to find the first quarter moon first on this example, and this is the first quarter moon. It's on the 9th. Okay, on the 9th we have first quarter moon. All right, when will be the next one? Well, the next one is going to take about a month later. This is March. It will be on April. It takes about 29 days, so let's say that April, either the 7th or on 7 or 8. April 7 or 8, right? We can see that this is March right here, so we know it's going to be a month after. All right, if on the 16th there was a full moon, which phase is on the 23rd? Now here is the 16th. This is a full moon. Okay, which phase are we going to have on the 23rd? So that will be 1 week after. And 1 week after the full moon will be this one over here, which is your waning, or it's a waning moon, I'm sorry, but it is the 3rd quarter moon. Sometimes we also call him the last quarter moon. The last question, the new moon is on the 1st. What moon is on the 9th? So here we go. I already highlighted the new moon. Right, this is on the 1st, the new moon. What is on the 9th? So if you look at the calendar, we already discussed that this will be your first quarter moon. So therefore, the answer is simple. It will be the first quarter moon. All right, today we have learned that the type of moon and images used in test questions, like pictures where they have the full lunar cycle, questions where they have like the calendar, the lunar cycle with the sun, the earth, and the moon, and also when we have pictures of one single moon with nothing else on it. We also learned the different angles used in the lunar cycle, like pictures with the lunar cycle with the sun on the left side, the sun on the right, the sun on the left, on the top, and on the bottom. We also learned some strategies that we're supposed to use during the exam, like locating the new moon, following counterclockwise motion, numbering the moons, naming the moons, and then timing the moon cycles. And of course, we also got familiar with the type of questions used on the exam. Alright, so I think that's it. Remember, this is Mr. G. Martinez and your 8th grade science channel. So if you subscribe, remember you're going to get a couple of points extra. So don't tell anyone. Go get your points, alright? That's pretty much everything.